Pikmin Tree is a... Stop. Pikmin Tree is a Pikmin game, and most Pikmin games want you to play them with 100 Pikmin. Quite a lot, but what if we reduce the amount of Pikmin we had all the way down to 20? Why 20? Because the highest way an object reaches in this game is 20, so that's the minimum you would need to 100% the game. Pretty simple challenge. The only thing I need to clarify is that 20 Pikmin means 20 on the field at the same time, not 20 total. Only having a total of 20 Pikmin wouldn't be possible. You immediately reach the total on day 2 and you need rock Pikmin to progress. Even if you bended the rules and didn't count Pikmin that get killed towards the total, you'd be forced to have 22 Pikmin by the distant Tundra. To make this challenge a bit more interesting, we'll also be doing it on the hardest difficulty, Ultra Spicy. Alright, day 1 starts and it's fucking over, go home. Okay, well you are forced to have 30 Pikmin for this 20-second gameplay section, and yeah, there's nothing we can do about this aside from just ignoring it. It is an extremely slim section of gameplay at the very beginning that doesn't amount to anything, and the rest of the game should be beatable. The rest of the tutorial is basically the exact same. You only amass a total of 21 Pikmin here anyways. The only thing that changes is one female gets spared. Yeah, the tutorial is easy and the real challenge starts on day 2. We're already at a slight disadvantage because we have one less Pikmin, but aside from that the opening is the same. We use a bit of a cheese here to start breaking down the gate near the bulborb early and build up the bridge. Due to us playing on the hardest difficulty and having access to only 20 Pikmin, combat is going to be much more harder in this run because... oh, never mind. Anyways, let's talk about math. I want 2 more Pikmin from this pellet, but if I got it now, I'd have 22 Pikmin, fail the challenge, and I'd be ridiculed every time I went out in public. So I use math to subtract 2 Pikmin, so when the game adds 2 Pikmin, the total on the field is 20. Then we get rid of 14 Pikmin for the upcoming rock Pikmin, so we can safely get as many rocks as possible. This does mean fighting the Medusal Circa with 6 Pikmin, which is a bit of a nuisance, but it's not anything threatening as it is a harmless enemy. We then have to rescue Brittany and collect 2 fruits, which is really easy aside from me being a complete dumbass here.
Oh brother, this guy stinks!
Time to fight the boss. Being the first boss, it's pretty easy and it's ideal to have more reds than rocks because they can latch onto its tail, allowing for some solid damage. You do still need some rocks to break open its shell though. I beat him deathless and tried to retrieve the phone. The differences between this phone and my phone is that my phone doesn't lock the distant Tundra, our next area, and the phone in Pikmin Tree doesn't have 90% of its storage space being used up by Scat Man John. What can I say, I like his music. Well, what I don't like is not being able to collect the phone and having to end the day while it's right next to the ship. Because we have less Pikmin, things obviously get done slower, so while I was mostly playing optimally, things like breaking down gates, building bridges, and defeating boss fights took longer. We will also have to take some time bringing back objects one by one. I can't collect the phone and dragon fruit at the same time because we simply don't have enough Pikmin. Anyways, it's the next day and we can immediately get the phone. It's also raining. I think the rain is cool in Pikmin Tree, but it always happens when I'm not in the mood for it. I just fucked up day 2 by a few seconds and now everything is soaking and miserable. Getting the dragon fruit is easy, but it takes a while because of how long the journey is, and we also get the zest bomb. Now it's time for the distant Tundra. Brittany crashes and she discovers the yellow Pikmin in this brief gameplay section that isn't timed. We can grow up a total of 25 by putting 5 back in the onion and then the real day begins. Now it's time to really utilize our brand new yellows. We destroyed the swooping snitch bug and heroically slay this electric gate. Then we put them back in the onion and don't use them for the rest of the day. We only need them for that specific gate this day, so it's just better to put them away and replace them with red and rock Pikmin, who have better combat abilities. It's usually ideal that you multitask here, but we can't because of our low Pikmin numbers, so I take on each side of the broken bridge separately. It's also ideal that you aren't shit at the game and lose 3 Pikmin immediately and then another one after that. Because the day is spent building bridges, it isn't that interesting and there is a good amount of downtime spent just waiting for the Pikmin to wrap up. The most threatening enemy we have to deal with is the Whip-tongue Bulborb, who is a Bulborb who is always awake. It went smoothly however and had no casualties. Even if it didn't go that smoothly, we could have always hit it in the eyeballs to prevent it from killing Pikmin. We only managed to get 2 fruits today, but we did prepare a few more for the next day, such as our second zest bomb. It's day 5 and now that the bridge is built, we can kill the Behemoth Fozbat and save our third captain, Captain Charlie. I brought 20 yellow Pikmin with me, but I forgot that there were crystals you need rocks to destroy. This video is just plain embarrassing at this point. I go all the way back to the onion, get 5 rock Pikmin, and then make my way to the boss. The Behemoth Fozbat is another easy boss. You are supposed to build up a big bridge, but that would waste our ever-precious time, so I decide to only partially build the bridge, change my rock Pikmin to yellow Pikmin with a candy pop bud, throw a captain and 20 Pikmin over to the place where the bridge leads, turn on the switch and activate the light bulb that basically neutralizes the boss. Easy peasy zest bomb squeezy. Killing him takes a slight bit of time, but we did save some time by skipping the bridge, so it's not that bad. After a while he's dead, and we rescue Captain Charlie. Something smells delicious. Maybe it's the fucking disgusting giant moth next to us. Okay, well I decided to split my forces up. 10 Pikmin bring back a mango, and the other 10 collect grapes. Alf and Brittany also get sent to the ship so they can whistle the grape collectors if necessary. Simple plan. This is a dead end. I don't think it is. Oh, maybe if you weren't walking through a fucking moth there wouldn't be a dead end. Then 5 Pikmin die from what? Hypothermia? Oh no, I forgot to kill the enemy that has an asshole. Not making that up, thanks for telling me that as a wee lad, Daz reviews. As a kid this absolutely traumatized me, not just kidding, I immediately posted on Miiverse for everyone to see. Well no, we don't get all the grapes, we only get 15 and barely miss the other 5. Next up we have the Tropical Wilds, which is a brief one-day segment. I bring out 20 red Pikmin because they do the most amount of damage and we don't need the other 2 for anything. Now I engage in the starting section pretty normally. This boss fight is really close to us and all we have to do is build up a bridge and destroy 2 sand walls in order to access it. We even get a slim bit of multitasking as we destroy 2 sand walls at once, very nice. And we also get another satisfying kill against a threatening whip-tongue Bulborb. The boss of this area, the sand-belching Meerslug, is a bit interesting. The usual strategy is just to constantly swarm Pikmin at him, which will cause him to fly off the ground and be vulnerable. However, because we only have 20 Pikmin, we can only do this when he is poking out of the ground like this, and not when he's only exposing his mouth. Bringing a few extra bombs will allow us to kick him out of the ground and finish the fight faster, but it comes at the cost of not being able to break down a stone wall near our base today, which would be helpful for retrieving objects. Our first bomb was absolutely squandered, however. Thankfully the rest of the fight went smoothly. Most bosses usually drop an upgrade in a fruit, but the Meerslug's fruit, which is a giant watermelon, breaks into several pieces, making it a pain to carry it all back. The rest of the day is spent just waiting for pieces of melon to be retrieved, and we aren't even able to get them all back. Now it's our first day in the Twilight River, which is yet again another bridge building day. I yet again bring out a full squad of yellows when there are crystals in the area that we need to break. In hindsight, there were 4 bombs and I could have used one of them to break open the crystal because we only need 3 to break open a stone wall. Instead I used the 4th extra bomb for this.
Oh, bro.
Yet again, the full squad of yellows is for activating light bulbs, and it also deals with an electrical gate quicker. Aside from that, most of the day is spent idling while waiting for bridge pieces to be built. We do get something huge in this day, and that is the winged Pikmin. These are an absolute game changer. They are the quickest Pikmin for carrying, being able to ignore enemies and hazards, and can take massive shortcuts. They will be great at saving time, and I grow up a good amount of them. They also have half damage, which I usually don't really care about, but because we will only have a squad of 20 of them, it might lead to some troubles. At the end of the day, we pull up this plant and unlock the stream. Speaking of streams, I've started doing them and someone politely demanded I request for a Pikmin Soyjack mod to be made starring Cobson and Feraljack. Be sure to program this mod right now and also watch my streams so you can request other mods you want me to request for in my videos. Anyways, our goal for the next day is to retrieve Louie, and we do this by defeating the Scornet Maestro, and to reach it we need to build bridge pieces. Well, these new winged Pikmin make it much easier as we can immediately reach the pieces and entirely skip several walls. Also, one thing I never understood about winged Pikmin is how one-hit kills work with them. There's a sand wall blocking some bridge pieces, but we can save some time and skip it by throwing a captain up there and whistling our winged Pikmin. Due to us losing time from the lesser Pikmin numbers, finding shortcuts like this will be important. The Scornet Maestro is already a pretty sluggish fight due to how scripted it is, but it's even more sluggish thanks to lower damage output. Not even an interesting fight, the same cheese as switching to a different captain works, and even without that cheese, dodging attacks with a squad of 20 winged Pikmin isn't exactly difficult. Well, because of that fight we are under a bit of time pressure, hopefully we can retrieve Louie in time.
Oh, bro.
Up it straight back to the Twilight River just so we can solely collect Louie. This clip shows just how close he was to the ship. If you weren't convinced about how beneficial winged Pikmin are for this challenge, the footage for this day should radicalize you. We went from barely getting any fruits to collecting a total of 11 of them. and almost clearing the currently available fruits aside from this persimmon. I've learned it's not a tomato. In my defense, it looks really similar, and I've also never seen a persimmon in my entire life. Fake fucking fruit. The winged Pikmin didn't even do anything that crazy aside from just being efficient. We did have to fight a Snaggart, which is harder with 20 Pikmin, and by harder I mean it ate 1 Pikmin instead of the usual 0. Next day we land in the Garden of Hope and Louie doesn't do anything rash. Just kidding, he steals all of our food and we have to get it back. We also get blue Pikmin, and for this challenge they are similar to winged Pikmin, with the key difference being that they're shit and we won't be using them. Well, we won't be using them when not required, and we are required to use them for bridges and structures in this area, where they just fell slow and we had to spend time growing them up. There isn't any nectar nearby, so the blue Pikmin are stuck with leaves, which means they will be as slow as possible. Not good for a bridge day. We are under a bit of pressure here as we don't have any juice. I mean, if we don't get 1 Ballward on this day, it's game over and we have to restart, which wouldn't be fun. After building all of the necessary structures, I pull out winged Pikmin, which turned out to be a slight mistake, as I decide to fight the bug-eyed Koppad with them. This guy is a piss-easy boss, but winged Pikmin were much slower than dealing with him than expected. I thought because they can fly onto his weak points they would be really good here, but that wasn't the case. In fact, they would often hit the shell instead of his stomach, which took manual recorrecting to fix, wasting time in a fight where we already have low damage output. I probably should have stuck with blues for this fight, as their normal damage output would have been much quicker. We are able to get enough fruits in time and survive. The very next day is a boss fight against the Quaggled Mireclops, and also this annoying crab who we dealt with perfectly, but he still managed to kill a Pikmin by blowing bubbles and causing him to fall in the water and drown. The Mireclops is notable for being the first boss that was actually more difficult with this challenge instead of just taking longer. To deal ideal damage we need 15 red Pikmin, and we also need some rock Pikmin to break open his crystal. This means we are fully immune to the water that is in this arena. You would usually bring winged Pikmin here, as their ability to instantly latch onto his weak point in high numbers negates their low damage, plus they can avoid the water, but that wouldn't be viable with only 15 of them. Water is also pretty brutal in ultra spicy difficulty, killing Pikmin in about a second, and this guy will constantly corner us and make avoiding the water puddles really hard. Attacking his feet is also harder, and that means he is able to get more attacks, and it's overall pretty challenging. I had to finish him off with only 3 Pikmin. This boss also wants you to build a bridge, but you can find him before it is built with no cheese, and if you use winged Pikmin to carry back the goods, you can skip building it. We basically need to do this because of the time pressure. We retrieve Louie, and now our next goal is clear up the 4 areas by collecting every single fruit. Let's continue the Garden of Hope, which doesn't have too much fruit left. The third day here is spent on the electrical gate fruits. Bring out a full squad of yellows to break down the gates, and then use winged Pikmin to collect them. There were a few hiccups today. Yellow Pikmin are not the best with bulb orbs, and I thought winged Pikmin would be able to fly over a fiery blowhog, but that was wrong, and it yet again messed up grape collection. One thing winged Pikmin can fly over is the level design, as they just skip an entire puzzle here, saving us a lot of time. Finally is another bug-eyed Koppad fight. I always found it weird how there were 2 in the same area. Instead of winged Pikmin, I decided to bring red and black. This worked marvelously and we defeated the crab in seconds. The next day after that is just getting 3 water fruits, which despite needing to finish off a bridge does not take that long, and I get the spare time to grind up some ultra spicy spray. I let my winged Pikmin handle the berries, go downstairs to make a cup of tea, and when I come back 11 of them died. On the bright side, the Garden of Hope is finished and we head back to the Twilight River, which is brief, only taking 1 day. Blue Pikmin gets to pretend to be helpful by collecting 2 fruits. I grow our Pikmin number slightly, and that is all we need done for the Twilight River. Now we are heading back to the tropical wilds. If you remember, we were only here for 1 day to fight the boss whose mouth also functions as an anus, and we barely collected any fruit, so there's a lot of work to be done here. I immediately use rock Pikmin to kill this enemy that uses boulders because they have a resistance to crushing. Critical blunder. Winged Pikmin have basically the same resistance but can immediately collect the fruit, while rock Pikmin have to bring it through a long dangerous route. Hopefully they will be fine. It also gave me less winged Pikmin to carry back the remaining watermelon pieces, slowing us down slightly. It just goes to show how careless Dandori can impact your run. Also, yet again, winged Pikmin can skip a wall and a lengthy bridge, so they're yet again really good. I used some bombs to finish off this stone wall and to unbury some fruits to save time, but this knob had other ideas. That was not even meant for him, and I didn't even know they could do that. He was also a nuisance while trying to get him to eat the bomb. Just die and give me the zest bomb, please. We do get it back in time, but we were unable to retrieve the face wrinkler or unbury the atheist delight, so both these will be gone tomorrow. Next day starts with another brief blue Pikmin segment to defeat the calcified Crushblat, which can be sped up by using 2 bombs to break the wall and the Crushblat shell. You usually bring a small number of Pikmin here anyway, so not that much changes. Alright, everyone back in the onion, time to spam winged Pikmin again. Not too much happens aside from just nabbing a few easy fruits and trying to set up for the longer fruits tomorrow. We kill this orange bulborb with a spare bomb and bring yellow Pikmin over to try and destroy the gate. Hey game, if you could do that hysterical thing again where you start doing the countdown right before I reach my objective, that would just be splendid. Well, next day we immediately come back here at Yellow's and destroy the gate. We also use one to get a captain up on the sledge with the power of weighing scales. Then after that we use Reds to collect a fig. With this challenge I prefer if we collected a cigarettes, to be honest. I could do with the nicotine. Go get bombs for the shaggy longlegs, then throw the bombs at his leg to get rid of the hair. Actually, never mind, because I miss one and land the other tree, except one of them just did absolutely nothing for some reason. That's cool. Winged Pikmin also can't climb up his legs or damage the hairs at all, so we can't progress in the fight. That's also cool. Well, let's take a brief break and go get the other fruit, which we have already done the scale puzzle for. Thankfully, there are bomb rocks here, so we can attempt to finish off the spider. I was a bit concerned about the fight because we didn't have that much time, but yeah. If that's how much damage 19 Winged Pikmin with Spicy Spray do to him, I do not want to see what this fight looks like with a full squad. Well, if that's everything, we have narrowly collected every fruit. That's cool. The blue Pikmin had to come in clutch here and bail us out of that, and we were able to get all of the remaining fruits that day, even if the game had other ideas. The Tropical Wilds is finished, and now it's on to the second last area for the run, the Distant Tundra. There is not too much to do here either, aside from nab some fruits with Winged Pikmin. Even fruits that you'd think would be interesting, like one where you have to do with a bull bear, aren't, because all you have to do with him is try to feed him a bomb, have him eat Alpha instead, drop the bomb and kick it around like a soccer ball, and then try feed it to him again and kill him instantly. The only real interesting one was another shaggy longlegs fight where I fucked it up in the exact same way as the one in the Tropical Wilds, and I could not get more bomb rocks, so I had to do it normally with blue Pikmin the next day. This is also the last time we will be seeing blue Pikmin. Anyways, I grew up 20 rock Pikmin before ending the day, and you will see why soon. Now that we have collected every single fruit, we are at the absolute home stretch, and our main goal now is to rescue Olimar in the Formidable Oak. To rescue Olimar and also to face the final boss, we need to finish off a chase section, which involves you trying to get Olimar out of this tunnel and away from the Plasm Wraith. I brought 20 yellows because I mistakenly thought that the electric wires here would take 20, but they don't. They only need 10. I should have brought some reds as they would speed up gate destruction. Destroying gates here is now a major annoyance as they take time and the Plasm Wraith has more than enough time to sneak up and steal Olimar back from us. Meaning we have to drop everything we are doing, chase after him, get Olimar back and continue, which is just a repeating cycle. We don't have the Pikmin numbers to try outsmart him or rush through the tunnels as quickly as possible. This room here usually requires a bridge to be built, which yet again would take some time, and we have to constantly be dealing with the wraiths, so instead I build a very small amount of it and throw the captains and Pikmin to the other side. Winged Pikmin will be able to fly over the bridge completely, so this should work. We didn't fully finish the tunnel this day, and we didn't get all the wires, so I headed back there the next day. I turn on one wire which had this really strange invisible wall, which didn't even matter because you can just throw Pikmin over it, and I also destroyed this gate, and now the tunnel is fully accessible. But we cannot fight the boss because I bought a full squad of yellows again and Olimar can't get out of the tunnel. Generally, I don't know what I was thinking here because I already knew the wires took 10 Pikmin and there are even candy pop woods that make Winged Pikmin. Strategizing in this game is way easier when you aren't actually playing. I awkwardly scurry off to get Winged Pikmin from the onion, but the Plasm Wraith just leaves with Olimar and the day ends. I never actually knew what happened if you let him run off, so I guess now I know. Next day I bring 10 Winged Pikmin and 10 Red Pikmin. Those 10 Red Pikmin were there for a specific reason, to carry Olimar through the tunnel without attempting to use a shortcut that would have killed my Winged Pikmin. Well, for some reason they tried to take the shortcut anyways, even though the bridge isn't built and they have no way of taking it. That's cool. I just reset and bring 20 Winged Pikmin anyways. If you move slowly they will follow your exact movements. Now it's time for the final boss. I bring out those 20 rock Pikmin I cultivated earlier for this fight. Why? Because they are fully immune to the Plasm Wraith Slice attack, which would have absolutely ravaged us if we did this with a squad of 20 non-rock Pikmin. You would think that this would make the elemental attacks impossible to deal with, but it doesn't. Aside from water, rock Pikmin deal with all of the elemental attacks. They are obviously able to deal with the crushing one, they can hit the fire one easily, and as long as you are quick enough you can destroy the electricity one before the orb blocks it. This fight took so long, Pikmin 7 came out after it was finished, and just barely willed down his HP with 20 rocks, and it is pretty boring to be honest. Also, just because the rock Pikmin are immune to the stabbing attack doesn't mean our captains are, as all 3 of them died, leading to us getting kicked out of the day and all 20 of our rock Pikmin dying. Not too big of a deal because he had low health and his health stays the same through days, so just a matter of finishing him off. He spent like 3 minutes hanging by a literal thread the next day, and after a bit, we have defeated Pikmin 3 with only 20 Pikmin. This was an interesting challenge, but I probably wouldn't recommend it. It can be pretty tedious to get through, but at least I proved it is possible on the hardest difficulty. I did have some fun with this, but there were several sections of just waiting around for bridge pieces or gates to be finished. So if you're going to play Pikmin 3, just play the game normally. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, and if you have any other ideas for Pikmin challenges, be sure to comment them down below.